So when I was preparing my notes for Lech Lecha, it occurred to me that for decades, really always, I've taught this portion as more of a history lesson. That Avram and Sarai had to leave their home, they had to leave behind everything they knew in order to literally get to this new spot, this new place where they would then be able to really begin their mission to the world. Okay, so I'm going to start yet again. For decades, year after year, I understood and taught the verses in Lech Lecha as a history lesson. See, I said Avram and Sarai had to leave what they knew behind them in order to arrive to the godly place where they will build a great nation with a great name, and the people will be blessed and cause others to be blessed. And I forgot somehow that each generation has to read the Torah anew, with new eyes that reflect their new situation, such as the one we find ourselves in today. Now when I read this passion, it's no longer as a history lesson. I read it as a call for our times. Did you ever wonder when you read the Bible, how is it that it all seems so familiar? You might say that it's because we've been reading it year after year, and that certainly is part of it, but the stories themselves don't seem that different from almost any news report today. Sibling rivalry, parents playing favorites with their children, incompetent and cruel rulers, and the ever-present floods, famine, and earthquakes. I believe that we will never escape from where we are, endlessly repeating the cycles of violence, pause, attempt to have society evolve into a more equitable peace and prosperity, then backlash and violence as the cycle is repeated. If you'd like a somewhat contemporary example that will, I believe, explain much going on today. Take a look at the years after the Civil War, when Reconstruction gave newly freed slaves the rights under the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, abolishing slavery, granting citizenship to anyone born or naturalized in the U.S., as well as federal citizenship rights, and stating that the vote could not be denied to anyone due to race, color, or previous condition of servitude. It all ended in 1877, when then President Hayes halted Reconstruction, and within 30 years, Jim Crow laws were actually the law of the land in the South. Black equality was finished, and the influence remains today. It's the same reason I fear for LGBT rights. We experienced a wave of new laws that granted us enormous protections and rights and access. But as we well know, those rights can be taken away. Until and unless we are willing to Lech Lecha, to pick ourselves up and bring our imaginations to a different place, I believe history will repeat itself again and again and again. In other words, as long as we use the same stale arguments and reasonings and beliefs that we have been using since Torah was conceived, we will never escape from the dystopian world that we are constantly building. So what can we do? I believe the answer is in the first verses of our portion. Vayomer Adonai el Avram, Lech lecha me'artzacha u'mimoladecha u'mibeit avicha el ha'aretz asher areka. Go forth from your native land and from your father's house to the land that I will show you. Ve'escha lagoy gadol ve'racha Ve'ezcha lagoy gadol va'avarchech. Ve'ezcha lagoy gadol va'avarecha. Ve'ezcha lagoy gadol va'avarecha va'agadla shemecha ve'yeh bracha. I will make of you a great nation. I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. I don't believe we have to physically move like Avram and Sarai. Actually, I don't think we have to move at all. Instead, I believe our challenge is this. We have to change our minds. We have to think like Avram, the model of chesed, of unrelenting loving kindness. We have to understand that as Avraham received the message from God, so the message is open to us as well. Lech lecha, get up and go. We have to change from being the ones who judge and move to being the ones who love. What do you think might happen if we stopped pushing and forcing and punishing people into social compliance, and instead we tried to love themselves into compliance? There will be those who say they don't deserve our love. And that's exactly my point. You might ask, what might an Avraham of this time accomplish? How about to be a blessing to yourselves and to others? How about to be a blessing to the world? How about to bring the world from thinking we are all separate and divided to understanding how we are all united under a single creator? How about being an agent of peace on the planet? How about being the one who helps lead us back to the garden? How about being the one who plants peace in the garden and waters it so that it grows and overflows in the world? Ehyeh bracha. You shall be a blessing. Shabbat shalom.